Hi guys, this will be a short video explaining what an absolute value is. Now many teachers would explain, and I'll show you what an absolute value is. For example, you have 2, absolute value of 2, and absolute value of -2. Many teachers will just tell you that you just solve for what's inside the bracket, or you just look at the number inside the bracket and you just keep, make it a positive number. For example, absolute value of 2 would be +2, absolute value of -2 would be +2. And they would say the exact same thing about an equation, for example, for 9 minus 4, right? Or -9 plus 4. Find the absolute value of 9 minus 4, they'll say that is 5. Find the absolute value of -9 plus 4, well, you solve -9 plus 4 is -5, and they'll say, okay, you just make that the positive number of the answer, and that will be 5. Now, most people, when they're first taught what an absolute value is, they get confused. Why do we do this? This doesn't make sense, and whatnot, and so on. And the reason why we take the positive number all the time, no matter if our answer inside the absolute value brackets is a negative, is because the absolute value is really just telling you to find, is asking you what is the distance between the number that is inside the brackets, absolute value brackets, and the 0 in a number line. For example, find the absolute value of 2, right? So 1, 2. And so the distance between 2 and 0 would be 1, 2. So the absolute value of 2 would be 2. Now they'll ask you, what's the absolute value of, let's solve for the absolute value of -3. The absolute value of -3, -3 would be right here, would be, okay, what is the distance between -3 and the 0 on the number line? Okay, we'll just count 1, 2, and 3. So the absolute value of -3 is 3. So the absolute value is really just telling you to find the distance between the 0 in the number line and the number inside the absolute value bracket. So that will always be a positive number, because distance cannot really, the distance cannot really be negative in this number line, right? So in both directions, the distance will be positive. Now let's give a little more complicated example. Let's see, 2 squared minus 4, no, 2 squared minus 8. So what is the absolute value of 2 squared minus 8? Now let's look at the number line, right? The first thing we do when we have an equation inside the absolute value brackets is we solve for the equation in the absolute value brackets. So, okay, let's solve for this. 2 squared minus 8 is the same thing as saying 4 minus 8. And that will be the exact same thing as, well, what's 4 minus 8? -4. So what is the absolute value of -4? Okay, so -4 is here. What is the distance between -4 and the 0 on the number line? Okay, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. So the absolute value of -4 is +4. Now, I'm going to do something quick just to see if we really understand this concept. I'm going to give a few numbers, and we're going to have to order them from least to greatest. So we'll take absolute value of 10 minus 8, absolute value of -3, and the absolute value of -1. So we're going to order this from least to greatest. Okay, so let's look at 10 minus 8. Let's simplify that. It's the same thing as saying what is the absolute value of 2, right? Okay, so let's look at this. What is the distance between 2 and the 0 on the number line? Well, we already know this. It will be 1, 2. So the absolute value of 2 will be equal to 2. What will be the distance between -3 and the 0 on the number line? Right, the 0, 1, 2, -3. So let's count 1, 2, and 3. So the absolute value of -3 is in fact 3. Now you guys might have guessed what the absolute value of negative 1 is, but let's just do this one more time to get this ingrained into your brains. So negative 1, what is the absolute value of negative 1? Well, what's the distance between the 0 and the negative 1? That will just be 1. So the absolute value of negative 1 is equal to 1. So we'll order this from least to greatest. So 1 is smaller than 2, which is smaller than 3. So that will mean that, okay, from least to greatest, it will be negative 1, 10 minus 8, and then negative 3. So that's it for today, and this is just a basic, simple explanation of what an absolute value is. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, please post them in the comments below. Thank you.